I said this about the ACC tournament without NC State. They didn't even make it. I'm going to say it about the Sweet 16 also. Feels incomplete to me. Right? The Sweet 16 feels incomplete with just one ACC school. Doesn't happen very often. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. So I hope right now across the country, especially now that it's actually across the country, not just the East Coast, I hope across the country ACC men's basketball coaches are, they're not doing the, hey, give me 2 weeks off. It was a long season. Let me go put my toes in the sand somewhere. I hope they're back to work trying to make sure it doesn't happen again. And certain coaches probably are more motivated to do that by maybe how make or break they see this upcoming season for their careers. Hubert Davis is the head coach of UNC, and with the portal in full effect, that North Carolina has to be dug in and working towards next year already. And Hubert had his Tarheel Sports Network radio show earlier this week. We have some audio for you, including Hubert Davis complaining, like I think everybody in college basketball, including this show, complained about the timing and schedule of the transfer portal.
Well, one of the things I don't like to do is just go from one thing to the next. And, we just finished on Friday, and you just don't have an opportunity just to be able to reflect and take a deep breath and be able to process the whole season and what went on. And you automatically have to go into the next phase, because the reason why we have those meetings is you need to know, because the transfer portal started on Monday.
The transfer portal started on Monday. And if you believe if you ain't pushing the limits, it probably started before that, right? If you're not tampering a little bit, you might be behind. Tampering happens everywhere. That's my favorite part. Every single coach will tell you their players are tampered with all the time. Nobody's ever like, oh, I've tampered, right? If everybody's team has been tampered with, never mind, we don't have to go down that rabbit hole. The interesting part about UNC, and Hubert Davis acknowledged it, is you're not just looking for the best basketball players at a program like UNC. You're not just looking for the right fit on the court at a program like UNC. You also have to find the people that are great basketball players, great fits for the players you already have, and can put up with the eyeballs that come with wearing that uniform for that school. Hubert talked about having to find players who can handle the scrutiny that comes with being a Tar Heel.
Can this person handle the spotlight to play here? This is different. It's just different. And I'm not trying to distinguish ourselves between anyone else, but I am. The lights are bright here, and everything that you do will be critiqued or criticized. And, some people, it's very difficult. They can't handle that. And so we have to, decide, is this person able to handle the spotlight here and be able to perform on this type of stage?
I love that as a recognition. I love that as a point of emphasis for UNC. And I'm not naming names on this, but when people do go into the portal from North Carolina, and immediately the discourse becomes, well, the fan base ran him off. They were so critical. They didn't like this. Every time he missed a shot, they did this. And I'm going like, well, it is North Carolina. There's a lot of people that really want to win, and when you're not winning, there's going to be, fair or not, criticisms.
There's a high standard there.
It's certain teams, certain programs, certain areas have to deal with that. Guess what? It's Major League Baseball opening day, right? You want to be a starting pitcher for the New York Yankees, you're going to have thicker skin than the starting number one pitcher for the Minnesota Twins. And when the Yankees are drafting, when the Yankees are in free agency, they have to take that into account. And I could go on and on, right? Sam Darnold with the Jets looked overwhelmed. Sam Darnold in Minnesota looked like he was pretty darn comfortable until the last two games. It's a different beast. So, yes, when you are looking for the next whatever for the Tar Heels, make sure they're checking off the, hey, you know what? They can actually delete Twitter from their phone and not have a withdrawal that's going to ruin them, right? They can look away from the noise if they have to. Or the opposite. They can use the noise to motivate them. But whatever it is, you have to be able to handle the eyeballs. That, I think, and By the way, I think that's a good, like, Hubert Davis has been around a long time, but he's been the head coach now for a handful of years, and I'm fine with him figuring that out over time. Because I do think a basketball coach might be blinded by talent and say, no, I'll get him here and I'll figure it out. I'll make it work. It'll be awesome. It'll be all hunky-dory. And then over time go, actually, you know what? I do think I have to get guys that are a little bit more thick-skinned. That's something I'm okay with. You know what I'm a little less okay with? A basketball coach figuring out after playing at North Carolina, playing in the NBA for 12 years, coaching as an assistant coach at North Carolina for a bunch of years, being in the media for a bunch of years, and then being the head coach for a handful of years, to suddenly say, like, we need to be a bigger team, as if it's some kind of a revelation. Here's Hubert Davis on the fact that the team has to have more size.
We've got to get bigger. We just do, from A to Z. Yeah. You know, we just do. And you talked about the physicality, for example, of Ole Miss, and, you know, their positional size was bigger than us. Yeah. And pretty much that's the way we were the whole season. And so that's one of the things that we're definitely going to address is we've got to get bigger. And, you know, in terms of that physicality, you have to have a presence, you have to be bigger, and that's what we're addressing this summer.
Now, we need to get bigger. We need more size. I don't want to make it too simple. It is basketball, though. Now, I know this because my family is tall, okay? I am a hair under 6'4". I am the shortest of all of the boy cousins, right? So we range from my height up to like 6'9". There's a lot of people in my family that if we walk around, the first question we get is, where'd you play basketball? Oh, what's the basketball team? Oh, where'd you guys play? Oh, especially when we were younger, right? Maybe, you know, a little less of a inner tube around the circle, around the waist and that kind of deal. The reason why people see tall, see big, see size, and immediately go, where did you play basketball, is because you need it to be good at basketball. You know, again, I don't want to make it too simple, but if after year 4 of being a track coach, you go, you know, I think we need to get faster, I'm not going to go, oh, well, good on him for figuring it out. I'm going, that's kind of day one stuff. If you're playing a team and they're bigger than you at every position, they're going to have an advantage. Can you overcome that? Yes. Can you have players that are smaller and they can be more skilled and they can be more explosive and you can fight it with scheme? Sure. But to then go like, you know what? Didn't work out. We got to get bigger. It's basketball. It's basketball. So I'm fine with some of the things. Oh, you know what? We maybe put too much emphasis on, and I'm inferring a bit here. This isn't word for word. We maybe put a bit too much emphasis on, maybe this analytic or this skill, right? This basketball ability without looking at the personality and how they can handle the bright lights of UNC. I'm fine with figuring that out over time. But going into a basketball season and going like, who would have guessed being smaller than darn near all of our opponents was going to be a disadvantage? And they were, by the way, smaller than darn near all of their opponents. It's not like they were, mostly tall except for when they faced a unusually gargantuan team like Duke. No, it's like most teams they played, they had a legitimate size disadvantage at almost every position. Like you at least have to understand going in that that's going to be something to deal with. We simply have to get bigger. Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
Nailed it.
Yeah.